Picture this. A 5-year-old boy reaches for a candy bar in a supermarket. His mother says no. He pauses, looks at her, and simply puts it back. No tears. No screaming. No negotiation. Just quiet understanding. Now picture a similar scene in any Western city. You already know how that ends. Most Western parents spend years cycling through the same exhausting tools. Timeouts, reward charts, threats, consequences, apologies, repeat. And yet the behavior never really changes. It just gets managed. Temporarily. Japanese parents don't punish. Not the way we think about punishment. And somehow, their children are among the most self-disciplined in the world. So what are they actually doing? By the end of this video, you'll have 2 words. Just 2. That explain the entire Japanese approach to child behavior. And a single ritual you can start tonight. For decades, Western parenting experts have debated the same question. How much discipline is too much? You've had authoritative, authoritarian, permissive, each one promising to be the answer. Each one leaving parents just as exhausted. Here's what the research actually shows. A 2018 study published in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry found that external punishment, timeouts, privilege removal, raised voices, creates what psychologists call compliance without internalization. The child obeys because they fear the consequence. The moment you remove the threat, the behavior returns. You're not building a child who understands. You're building a child who calculates. Japanese parents have understood this intuitively for generations. And modern developmental psychology is only now catching up to what they've always practiced. The 2 words at the center of Japanese child-rearing philosophy are Amae and Haji. Indulgence and shame, but not in the way those words sound in English. Amae, loosely translated, is the feeling of safe dependence. It is the understanding that a child can fully trust their parents' warmth. That love is not conditional on behavior. Japanese mothers spend the early years, particularly from birth to age 5, building this bond almost exclusively. They do not discipline. They attach. And then, and this is the part most Western parents miss, once that bond is completely secure, the second concept arrives naturally. Haji. Not shame as punishment. Shame as a compass. When a Japanese child misbehaves, a parent doesn't remove a privilege. They say something closer to, when you behave like this, it makes others uncomfortable. Is that the kind of person you want to be? The child doesn't comply out of fear. They comply out of identity, because they have been raised to care deeply about the impact of their actions on others, and because the relationship with their parent is so secure, disappointing that parent feels genuinely meaningful. Harvard developmental psychologist Dr. Jerome Kagan spent decades studying cross-cultural behavior patterns in children. His conclusion? Children raised in environments of emotional security, not strict control, consistently demonstrate higher self-regulation by age 8. Before we go further, does any of this remind you of how you were raised? Or how you parent now? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this is landing for you, the subscribe button is right there. We go deep on this every week. Here's the part of this conversation that's harder to hear. The reason punishment is so prevalent in Western parenting isn't because parents are doing it wrong. It's because they were never given time to do it right. Building Amae, that deep, secure bond, requires physical and emotional presence in the first years of life that modern Western culture does not structurally support. Maternity leave, working hours, screen time. These are not personal failures. They are systemic ones. The answer is you start today. Because the research, specifically attachment repair studies from the University of Minnesota, shows the bond can be rebuilt and rebuilt quickly through one very specific kind of daily interaction. Not more rules. Not fewer rules. More presence. In Japan, this practice is called Oyasumi no Hanashi, loosely, the good-night conversation. Every evening before sleep, a parent sits with their child and asks 2 questions. Not, did you finish your homework? Not, were you good today? The first question, what was the best moment of your day? The second, was there a moment today where you could have treated someone better? That second question is doing something extraordinary. It is teaching a child to self-audit, not because they'll be punished if they got it wrong, but because they are building the habit of reflection, of caring about impact, of asking every single night, am I becoming the person I want to be? You do not need to overhaul your parenting. You do not need a new system, a new book, or a weekend retreat. You need 10 minutes tonight. Sit with your child. No phone in your hand. Ask those 2 questions. Listen without fixing. That's it. That is Amae in action. That is how you start building the bond that makes punishment unnecessary, because your child will gradually, quietly begin to discipline themselves. Japanese parents don't raise obedient children by demanding obedience. They raise children who want to be their best selves because they've been shown consistently and quietly what that looks like. 2 words. Amae. Haji. 1 ritual. Tonight. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who's in the thick of it right now. And subscribe for more on how the world's most thoughtful cultures raise children who are calm, capable, and genuinely kind. I'll see you in the next one.